Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's June 13th, 2023, and today I thought I'd share with you the results of doing some flail mowing. So you may recall in our last garden update, we were talking about the central garden, and we had the cover crop that we put in last fall after harvesting our crops from that garden, and we decided we're just going to let the cover crop grow and all. So what we did do was we pulled the weed mats down to the path. So typically, if you go back to our other videos, you'd know that there's just a narrow spot where the tomato plants or pepper plants or whatever was planted over there, in between two weed mats on either side. And we pulled those weed mats down into the path, and these are permanent raised beds. But I'll go over that in a second. So today, Thea went ahead, disconnected the drip tape for each one. So this is how we water the plants. We use these every 6-inch emitters, which just put small drops of water right at the base of the plants, which works extremely well. And if you go back to our last garden update, you could see we had about 5.5 foot tall cover crop still on each one of these permanent raised beds. And so today, Thea disconnected the drip tape from that side, pulled the drip tape out, set the drip tapes up there out of the way, made sure the weed mats were not on the covering any of the bed where all of the crop was there. So we had wheat, clover, various brassicas, vetch, what else do we have in there? I can't think of the rest of them right now, but quite a diverse crop. Nitrogen fixers, carbon fixers, daikon radishes. Some of them were the size of softballs in diameter in here. And so made a couple of passes, then pulled the material from the sides because the Berta Flail mower isn't wide enough to cover this whole thing. And these are raised, so they're about a foot above the path, 12 to 14 inches above the path in each one of these. But what that flail mower does, because it has a baffle in it or a restrictor, it really takes all that material and just chops it up into really small fibrous particles that'll break right down. It acts as a good mulch. Now, I did check beforehand. The seeds weren't mature yet. Still lots of the plant, the cover crop had lots of flowers on it. But since the seeds weren't mature, even though some of them weren't broken up, laid down here, they shouldn't set seed and germinate as well. But the weed mats will be placed back up over these beds. So the benefit of using the cover crop here, not just in that narrow row where the nutrients were somewhat depleted, but we're feeding all the microorganisms with the root mass that's still in the soil. We're not going to till this. The root mass is still in the soil. It's all going to break down, going to feed all the microorganisms and the earthworms and all. And all of the material on the top can start feeding some of the earthworms and microorganisms. They'll pull that down once the weed mats cover it all up and all. So that's pretty good. So what did I use as a flail mower? Well, I used the BCS tractor. I've talked about this in the last couple of videos, and I'm not going to show any footage of me using it this time. But this is a 2-wheel Italian-made tractor that actually is reversible. So the handlebars can go back here. So when I'm running the rototiller is here, and the handlebars are back here as well. But using the flail mower, you run the flail mower in front of the piece of equipment, in front of the tractor itself. This is a Berta Flail mower. It is fantastic. It's driven by belts. So there's a drive shaft right here that hooks right to a gearbox, which runs two belts off the other side rather. Real easy to maintain. There's a 90 weight oil that needs to be changed or checked at least, maybe changed once a year. I hardly use it. There's grease fittings underneath these bolts on each side. These are adjustable as well. But one of the things that I really like about this flail mower is that there's this baffle that goes inside of it. It's removable, and it chops the material up. It keeps it from getting discharged right away after the first couple of chops, after the flails, the metal blades are chopping through it. It keeps the larger particles from getting discharged, so it gets run through the blades a couple more times and really breaks up the material into small pieces, which makes it much more beneficial for the beds because it'll break down faster. Big, thick, heavy pieces break down slow. Greater surface area of smaller pieces breaks down much faster. Feeds all the microorganisms and the invertebrates in the soil as well. So this flail mower, the Berta, I think is absolutely excellent. This tractor is awesome, so you can run plows, different types of mowers, balers, all sorts of equipment off this. I use this mainly for the flail mower at this point in time. I have a potato harvester that goes on this as well. That doesn't work so well. I have a hiller, and I've showed that in videos. Last year I showed the hiller. It goes right on the front here as well, and that just throws the soil from, just like a rototiller in a sense, but it will, if you drive it down here, it'll throw the soil that's in the path up onto the bed and make your beds raised beds. So that's how you can create these beds, nice straight lines, by running the hiller right down in the paths. Now mine are pretty extreme because my raised beds are higher than most farmers, but we like them. They're much more comfortable for us to work with as well. But that's what I wanted to do, was show you we made some progress with the central garden beds. We used the Berta flail mower on the BCS 749 tractor, and that flail mower just chopped everything up beautifully. So what we can do next is put the drip tapes back on there, clean up the weed mats. I'll probably use the Ego blower and blow a lot of the material that's gotten sediment on top of the weed mats. Get the weed mats and the drip tapes up there, then get our crops that have been sitting out for so long. It's real late for us to get these crops. A couple of tomato plants, some acorn squash and all, and then we'll get the fence up around here. So that's it for today's video, folks. If you found this of value, please give us a thumbs up. There are other videos that I have on using the flail mower. You can actually see it in action. I just think it could be boring. Just wanted to talk about it and let you know what we did. Thanks so much for watching. Have a super fantastic and safe day. Bye-bye now.